Here's what you need to know about Iowa State basketball starting in 2024 and leading up to 2025. They are good, and they're not just good, they are great. And there's a few key factors in what makes them great. And as of right now, the number two team in college basketball, starting with their lineup. Some of these guys are transfers that came into the program just this year. Last year, we saw Keyshawn Gilbert, a transfer, come in and make a huge impact on this Iowa State basketball team. And now, as a senior this year, he is their leader and the guy that they look to the most. Bringing in two bigs such as Deshaun Jackson and Joshua Jefferson, who have already made as big of an impact as they have on the court, is a big deal. And they're not just guys who can get rebounds and provide defense, they can score. We saw that with Deshaun Jackson, and we're seeing this right now in Big 12 play with Joshua Jefferson. Jefferson is a forward, but he can shoot the ball. He can shoot the ball well. He can also dish out assists. He can create turnovers for his opponents, and he can rebound too. When you put all of those qualities together, that makes a good player. I believe we haven't even seen the best of Joshua Jefferson yet, and we will see the best as the Cyclones move forward into Big 12 play. Same with Tamin Lipsey. Lipsey, the point guard, has been called the floor general before. He knows how to find his teammates' looks. He knows how to create looks for his teammates, but he's also undeniably unselfish. Whenever he has open shots, sometimes he'll take them, but other times he will give the ball out to his teammates so they can make a play, and they can make a play in those big moments. He might not be the leading scorer, he might not be a big person on defense, but you still know he's there. And trust me, when you see the best of Tamin Lipsey, you do not want to mess with him. And now let's talk about Iowa State's sixth man off the bench, who is, ironically enough, their leading scorer, and that is Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones is good enough to be in the starting lineup for any team in the nation, but he comes off the bench as their sixth man, and he can also score, not just shooting layups and jumpers, but shooting the ball from deep, giving the Cyclones their three-pointers when it matters again. He can come in clutch. But what makes Curtis Jones an unselfish player too is the fact that I believe he loves coming off the bench. It doesn't even cross his mind that he's not in the starting lineup, but by coming off the bench, he knows he can provide the Cyclones and produce them with quality minutes and quality plays. Believe me, Curtis Jones is someone that I believe opponents do not want to see, especially when he's on his A game. And the same goes for the Cyclones starting five. When you have the point guards such as Tamin Lipsey and Keyshawn Jackson, when you have Milan Momcilovic, when he's on and can also hit those three-pointers. When you have Deshaun Jackson, a big who can get rebounds, and you have Joshua Jefferson, who is kind of a mix of all four of those combined. The Iowa State starting five lineup is fire, but there's also some things that they can work on, especially when we move on in the Big 12 play and move through these months. One of those is starting out a little faster on the road. We saw the Cyclones get off to a slow start in Colorado. We also saw them get off to a slow start against Texas Tech on the road, and we saw the same thing with Iowa. Iowa State's home environment, Hilton Coliseum, is massive. They have the fan base, they have the support. Winning at home is a big deal. But what sticks out on resumes, especially when we get into March, when it's Big 12 tournament time, when it's conference tournament time, and in the March Madness, road wins do stick out the most. And when you can grab those road wins and you can beat teams on the road, that is a big deal. And you need to be able to find ways to win on the road. and find ways to come back from games that you might have not played so well in. Iowa State's first Big 12 game against Colorado was on the road. They did get out to a bit of a slow start, but they rallied back to win that game. And winning in Colorado at their home court is not an easy feat to do. Same with Texas Tech. Iowa State was down by as many as 13 against Texas Tech, but they found ways to attack the rim. They've still found ways to score. They found ways for Texas Tech to turn the ball over and won by 1 point in overtime. They might not be the number one team in the country right now, but they are number two, and they are number two for a good reason. You saw the way that they play. They are undefeated in Big 12 play right now. Their only loss this season has come to Auburn in the Maui tournament, and guess what? Auburn is now the new number one team. When you have the resume that Iowa State has this season, and you look at the resume from last season as well, it's incredible what their culture is. It's incredible what all they have done. And a big attribute to that is TJ Otzelberger. He has brought in players that fit exactly what the program looks for. He's brought in players who he knows he can coach and develop, and we have seen that. We saw the improvement from Tamin Lipsey from his freshman year up to his junior year right now. We have seen the improvement from last year to this year, especially in Keyshawn Gilbert. We're seeing the improvement from Curtis Jones and even these newer guys, such as the transfers. Nate Heisey transferred from UNI to Iowa State. He's given Iowa State some good minutes. Grant Chatfield was a transfer. He's providing Iowa State with some good minutes and some quality work too. Iowa State might not finish undefeated in Big 12 play, and we know that. The Big 12 is a hard conference. You still have teams who are still equally as good, if not better, this season than they were last season. Kansas comes to mind, for example. Kansas visits Iowa State Wednesday at Hilton. It should be a great game. It's a clash up of two top 10 teams. Kansas can shoot the ball, they can rebound, they can do everything almost perfectly. But are they a match for Iowa State in the role that they've been on right now? We saw how Iowa State came back from Texas Tech. Kansas has lost at home, but they've also won a few road games. It's just a matter of which team has more fight, which team starts out quicker. Iowa State needs to start out quickly if they want to have a good chance of beating Kansas. So whichever team starts out the quickest, whichever team limits their turnovers, that's the team that will emerge victorious. And like I said, Hilton Coliseum is a tough environment to play in. Iowa State can defend their home court. Same with Houston. Houston has the longest streak out of any Big 12 team when it comes to wins at home, wins in their home field. Iowa State ranked second, only behind Houston. So we'll see if the Cyclones can bring their spirit, see if they can bring the Hilton magic that comes along with playing at Hilton. But believe me when I say we have not seen the best version of Iowa State basketball quite yet, but we will see that in more games to come.